Hi, my name is Bonnie Meekums, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a dance movement therapist based in the UK. I'm hoping today to share some work that's been around for me for a long time, but I have only shared it in a very limited way with students, and I thought it might be nice to have this available for a wider audience. So you can see, hopefully, on your screen that I'm going to be presenting some PowerPoints, and I'm going to do this across several video recordings so that nobody has to watch for too long to get to the bit that they want. This I call the WISE EMPowER model of embodied creative change. And what I'm going to cover in this series of talks actually is the background to the model, and I'm going to describe each stage of change and phase in the therapeutic relationship that's associated with those phases of change. Then we'll review the whole model and hopefully discuss some implications for the future research. So what I'm going to cover in this lecture is just the background to the model. So it arose out of my own doctoral research, which I completed a long time ago in 1998. And I've also written about, there are various references there which will be presented towards the end of the last lecture. What I did in that research was I interviewed 14 women. And those women were all recruited from one of 4 arts therapies groups. Those groups happened in a mental health setting here in the UK, in the statutory mental health services, the National Health Service. And they were designed specifically for women who had been sexually abused as children and who saw that abuse as being fundamental to the way their mental health had turned out. After I did the research and came up with a model for recovery from child sexual abuse, I then carried on developing the model through discussions with clients and colleagues. And I feel that the model applies both to the overall process of change within a period of therapy, and to the microcosm of change within each session. And I conceptualize this model as a spiral, and I call it a spiralic process of forming, because something is being formed, something new is being formed and developed as a result of this change. What's different about this model, and so many people have written about their success stories in therapy, it alarms me really that most of them don't talk about what can go wrong. And this model actually does account for deterioration, which I'll come on to later. It has specific application to post-traumatic states, and it might well have an application to other kinds of recovery and therapeutic approaches. So this is the last slide in this particular lecture. So I'm just going to show you the model as a whole, and then in future lectures I will come back to the individual bits of this process. So it starts with what I'm conceptualizing as a warm-up. And then when a sense of safety is established within the therapeutic relationship, the individual is able to go into a state of immersion within an embodied metaphor and within the relationship, this therapeutic relationship. During this time, the therapist is mirroring and witnessing. And that can lead to the individual seeing things slightly differently. And then what comes is a somewhat less comfortable process, which is the probing and challenging that must inevitably lead to the individual evaluating things and coming up with a different sort of view on things. And then inevitably there has to be some letting go, some releasing. But this goes round and round and round and is built upon and becomes like a spiral, a spiralic process of forming. So don't worry if that doesn't make any sense to you at the moment. It doesn't matter, because I will be coming back to this in future lectures. Thanks for watching. Bye.